on our socials, and we are happy you have joined us this morning. Two key issues we are looking at. The WASSCE results, the West African Senior High Certificate Examination. The results have been very bad, one of the worst in previous years. We're trying to understand what caused this decline, if it's a decline at all. Others think that this is the real standard of the people, and what we've seen in the past was a propped up results, or have been propped up results. Is that the case? We'll try to understand that. And is it a free SHS? Because we've had free SHS for quite some time now, and the results have not been this bad. Some people say that the teachers have not been paid for their interventions, and so they were not willing to assist this time. Others also think that invigilation was higher, the vigilance was higher this time. We will try to understand what the issues are and, of course, provide some solutions or recommendations on the way forward. In the second part of the show, we look at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. That office has been under fire for the past week. Parliament actually thinks that that office should be scrapped almost unanimously. The Speaker also making some comments on that. In fact, people think that that office is unconstitutional because of Article 88. We will look at that as well. Also, they arrested and detained Martin Kpebu for some time this week, and that has increased the tempo and pressure on that office. Why was he arrested? We will try to understand all of that, because Martin had made allegations of corruption against the special prosecutor himself. He was invited a few times. He went. He thought that the panel to hear him was not properly constituted, because his view was that you can't have a panel of your subordinates taking information to investigate you. He said he wanted, or he wants, an independent panel, or worst case, the board of the ASP, OSP to sit and hear him take the allegations so they can begin investigations. All of that is in the mix. And so we will see where the SP, or the Special Prosecutor, places. Let me provide you some updates quickly. The Ghana Education Service has rejected what it describes as misleading claims surrounding the 2025 WASSCE results, insisting that examination outcomes credibly reflect students' academic performance. The 2025 results recorded a significant decline, with nearly 6,295 candidates having results cancelled for being foreign materials, including prepared notes, textbooks, and printed sheets into exam centers. Additionally, 1,066 candidates, comprising 908 with withheld subject results and 158 with withheld full results, remain under investigation for suspected offenses. In an interview with City News, PRO of the service, Daniel Fenyi, noted that the outcome is as a result of authority zero tolerance towards malpractices.
We are not implying that the past examinations have, indications or were compromised necessarily. But for us, for a new manager, we make sure that the issue of integrity is held in a very high esteem. That's the other reason for which anytime for this year, anytime we hear issues about the examination, the WASSCE examination, and then the results being released, you will observe closely that the issue about more patterns and the topic around these compromises and trying to minimize, especially for this year, it's happened because the new leadership invested and ensured that our learners carry themselves, our teachers, invigilators, supervisors carry themselves in the highest form of integrity as possible, so that our belief is that an average student who gets his results with the highest level of integrity is still better than an excellent and fraudulent student.
Meanwhile, President John Mahama has linked the poor performance in the latest WASSCE to the neglect of basic education. During the unveiling of the STEM Box initiative for primary institutions, he noted that the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service would review the examiner's findings and roll out swift changes. He stressed that strict examination supervision will continue and called on families and schools to prepare students enough.
Recently, the West African Exams Council has released the results for the last West African School Certificate Examination. And as the Honorable Minister has said, it has become an issue of great concern to government, parents, and the public at large. But it also emphasizes the issue of foundational learning. One of the major things that has taken place in the last several years is the neglect of basic education. Inability to send the capitation grants, ensuring that we have quality teachers at a foundational level, at a basic level, because it is that level that prepares the child for secondary and tertiary education. Strict invigilation is not going to go away. And so we must make sure that the children are well prepared to, on their own, be able to study and pass the exams that are waiting for them.
All right, so that's President Mahama speaking on the poor performance of the students in this year's WASSCE examination. My guests for this morning are seated and ready for the show. We have Kofi Asare, who's the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, EduWatch, Enoch Afoko, member of the MPP legal team, Franklin Kujo, President of Imani Africa, Senyo Hosi, who is a man of many parts. Of course, we'll be joined by Angel Kabonu, who's a former president of NAGRAT, and the GES PRO, Daniel Feni, may also make an input. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program. I start off with Kofi. Kofi, good to have you. And when you saw the results, which have been deemed to be the poorest in many years, what struck you as somebody who plays in the education space?
And thanks for having me. I think the first thing that struck me was that something had gone terribly bad in the two subjects, because it wasn't a general trend across all subjects, but it was an incident observed in two subjects. Normally, when we are doing results analysis, you want to look at a trend, but this is not trendy because it's a sudden dip. It means that there has been an intervening factor to have occasioned this particular result. So that was the initial thought. Of course, as an outsider from the school environment, I don't teach, I don't work in the school. So looking at the school from our policy lenses, what may have happened different in 2025 that didn't happen in 2024 or 2023. As the president said, the same teachers were teaching in schools in 2022, 3, 4, 5. And so what could have changed? So we started thinking about exogenous variables, things outside the school environment that may have impacted, because we didn't see anything significant happening on the policy level, on the school level. Apart from the renewed emphasis and strengthened deployment of invigilators, supervisors, declaring that teachers will be dismissed outrightly once they are found culpable of examination or practice, etc. Apart from that, we didn't see anything that could have been intervening from outside the school. But from inside the school, you can only know after engaging the teachers and then the students. So we immediately did a survey. I think Sunday, immediately we started the survey to find out from our teachers what could have happened in your perspective. We started. And we have 150 schools that we work, directly in through teachers and invigilators, etc. I want to find out. And by this time, we expanded it beyond our teachers and invigilators that we work with, whom we call monitors, to all teachers in the schools. By yesterday night, we had done about 680 senior school teachers so far responding to the survey. And so far, it is obvious in the minds of teachers, in the minds of teachers that the major contributing factor 80% of teachers believe that the top one is poor preparation.
Poor preparation.
Yeah. Then about 45% of teachers believe that the top two, second is increase invigilation. The question was about what are the top four?
Invigilation.
Yeah, so top one is poor preparation, second increase invigilation. The third one is the no leakage.
No leakage.
Yes, no leakage. And then the lowest among the top four is difficult questions. So
difficult questions.
Only 20% of teachers believe that should make the top four. That's the difficult question. It means that poor preparation, obviously, the first, second, improving regulation, third, no leakage. The only ones we can speak to from where we sit is that yes, we know questions didn't leak because we didn't get them. From where questions are bought, if they leak, we always get them. So we didn't get them. So yes, that can be true. Increase in invigilation, well, there's data to suggest that there was improved invigilator presence. Our monitoring report during WASSCE itself, the report was launched in October, said that about 61% of our monitors who monitored WASSCE, they said that the quality of invigilation was between good, very good, and excellent, 61%. Of that, excellent was 9%. So it meant that something in terms of increased deployment of various monitors from ministry, from GAS, from WAEC.
Increased deployment or increase in invigilation means there were more invigilators.
More invigilators, more WAEC presence, essentially.
More WAEC presence. Schools. And then no leakage obviously means that the questions did not leak this time.
Questions didn't leak.
But has it been a practice that questions will leak every year?
Apart from 2024, we've had questions
leaking.
Between 2018, 2019, and 2022, it was very, very, very regular. At least when we went to the market, we would buy every question, almost every question that we bought, we got them.
And the questions will come, will appear in the exams?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor preparations. Why would
in 2023, Dr. Educhum brought in the BNI. To take over the question security at WAEC.
Okay.
Previously was Ghana Police.
Okay.
So since the BNI came, then everything changed.
Everything changed. So this time, so this said there was 2023 there was no leakage as well.
2023 there wasn't any leakage. What happened was that there was some foreknowledge. Foreknowledge means that the question is not leaking from WAEC, but it's leaking on the way to the center.
Okay.
1 hour to the time. So WAEC will call it foreknowledge. But it's not leakage. Leakage is why we will get it a day or two before.
But this year there was no foreknowledge, there was no leakage.
No.
Do we know whether it's the police or the BNI that did it?
No foreknowledge. I'm not able to know.
Okay.
But we'll go to buy. So leakage, no.
Okay. But do we know who secured the exam papers this time?
Yeah, it's still the BNI in charge. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned poor preparation. Teachers listing poor preparation as one of the key factors. Poor preparation will mean what? That the students are not prepared enough, and by who? By the teachers?
Okay, so let me start from here. There's a section called others in the survey. Okay, the others, we have 25% of teachers going for the others. Now the others, within the 25% of the others, there are 10 factors there. The top one is excessive social media use.
Okay.
The top one's social media use in discipline. Okay, and then poor quality of students, poor literacy rate of students. Many students cannot read.
Poor literacy.
Yes, poor literacy rate. Many students, we know it's not news. Many of the students cannot read. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, we saw the director. We saw the hunter.
Yeah, but my difficulty is if the students cannot read, is that not? Doesn't that reflect badly on the teachers?
I'm coming there. So the issues within the 10, the 25, the 10 other issues, you see that I group them to two: social media and its related use, as mobile phone, social media use. It affects discipline, affects truancy, absenteeism, and focus. So that one alone is one. Tech or social media and phone tech. The second one is the poor quality of students. You see, the philosophy and opinion are our policy in the past decade. unwritten philosophy is that there are foundational gaps in learning at the basic level. It's difficult for us to address them very well working in 15K plus primary schools or 11K plus junior high schools. And so let's wait until they get to secondary school where we are going to work in less than 1,000 senior high schools.
Okay.
And then we do leapfrog, intervene, and try and fix them. So when you heard the Hunter director talking about a girl with grade 14 in her school not being able to write her name, you understand that, yes, we have many of such cases. But the expectation I see as an unwritten philosophy behind our policy is that when the foundational deficit gets to secondary level, we are dealing with only about 800 schools. So we will intervene and fix them there because it's much more difficult to fix it in 16,000 primary schools or 12,000 junior high schools. That seems to be education policy for the past decade. So TTEL has been conducting annual surveys in secondary schools to ascertain literacy levels. One of the literacy levels that they evaluate is mathematical literacy. I'm reading the portion of the report, the demonstration report. Now, it is conducted on Form 2 and Form 3 students. Now, in their most recent report, when the current batch that completed, they were, in 2024, they were in Form 2. When that research was conducted, their literacy rate, let me put it this way, 48% of them scored 39% or low, which is below proficiency. Let me just explain it literally below proficiency. 48%. The meaning is that when this batch was in Form 2, and the mathematical literacy assessment was conducted, 48% were not proficient in mathematics. They scored 39 or 0, up to 0. Do you understand? So it gives you an idea that many times a lot of the work is done when they enter secondary school because they bring huge foundational learning deficits from basic school to secondary school. So many times again, when if literacy level is that low, it's difficult for the teacher to teach maths because they will teach maths in English. Okay, so this should give you a picture about the kind of work that our senior high schools do. If it's a factory, we will say the factory is being fed with raw materials that have junk, a lot of junk or a lot of scraps in the raw material. So they are doing an extension of basic education there by fixing foundational issues.
Which is difficult to do.
Before doing the secondary education stuff. So these are all things that will affect the ability of teachers to prepare students adequately at any point in time. Because of this, the quality of interventions that occur in our senior high schools is always important in determining WASSCE performances because of these deficits. So I see, reading through the comments that the opinion of the teachers as they continue to respond, I get to appreciate when teachers are saying that one of the main issues is that the learners cannot read. It is true. It is true. So there are many issues, but these are the issues that the teachers are believing may have occasioned the current one.
I see. Let me speak to Franklin quickly. Hello, Franklin Kujo, President of Money Africa. Good morning once again and welcome to the program. Learners cannot read, and that is very difficult to fix. How did we get here?
Well, good morning to my good friends and good morning to you. I'm not entirely surprised about this revelation. I thought, as we've all been seeing and hearing, or probably reading about should I call it the quality of education these days, maybe the confusion is around the usage of social media, and I think Kofi has rightly mentioned that through the survey. Well, social media usage may be responsible, but I suspect strongly, and I have to be careful here though, I suspect that what is actually going on, I think, it's actually has to do with should I call it not just the content of it, the way we organize education in this part of our world. I don't understand that, you have just a limited period of time to engage with the tutors. Not all schools are actually endowed when it comes to getting good tutors, by the way. And so when I hear these things, apart from the fact that yes, there are issues around, should I call it? In any case, you've got to be smart before you be able to even copy, right? I mean, if you were giving, even if somebody came to give you the answers, you have to be smart enough to know how to actually probably write it or understand what is at play. So I think it is important that we look at this matter of actually understanding what students are actually learning. It's very important because I have a strong suspicion that they don't even understand what they are learning or reading. Most of them read, and it goes to the heart of instructions, the way instructions are delivered. Some people have even suggested that instructions should be delivered in our local language, right? Because some places you just won't succeed you wouldn't move forward when you try to use when you want to speak to students in a particular, I mean, in the English language. So um, it's not surprising. This test ought to be, should I call it test? I think there must be some sort of serious introspection because, look, I think it's either the pedagogy, of course, the curriculum may be, I think the curriculum is fine, right? But I suspect the challenge, and I'm using the word suspicion here because unlike, uh, Kofi Asare, um, I don't think we've done. I haven't done any deep down study. What do you call it? Deep down analysis to determine what exactly is happening. But I hear, I see, I read, and sometimes I really worry. So I think there has to be a holistic, probably a 360 look at the whole education sector. But clearly speaking, you cannot expect a lot of good to come out of a system that is always constantly under pressure. I mean, this education system constantly under pressure. A minister comes, they change it. Another minister comes from another party, they change it, and the whole thing becomes such a mess. I'm struggling to how do I put it? Understand why we have actually made education that way. By the way, the point about being part of a process or being part of a system for you be able to understand exactly what is happening. Unfortunately, I don't think our leaders have taken a critical look at the sort of education they're actually giving people. So I keep saying education is not like vaccination that you give, right? You've got to really prepare the students properly before you how to call it deliver. And so it's troubling. It's troubling. Overall, though, as I understand that, well, it's because there was a lot of good invigilation. That is why this time around people feel again goes to the point we are making that what exactly has been the case? Is it the case that the previous years um, teachers or headmasters, or should I call it, was it laxed? Was it the case that they were giving certain inducement? Again, I haven't done the study, so I can't tell, but maybe Kofi can tell us. Is it the case that there was certain inducements, not inducement as in bribery, but what were teachers told? What were headmasters told? What were students told? I don't know. Is it the case that because they were doing well, right? The records were how to call it the examination scores were a bit better than this. How come that in 7 years or so we are recording very abysmal figures? Has it been the case? Is this really the true nature or true performance that we should be expecting? Is it that we're gaming the system? We need to understand all of this facts. And Professor is the man to do all of this. So I suspect clearly that something must have gone wrong, and we really need to fix it.
I see. One of the reasons is come up with from the teachers is that this year there was no leakage, and so perhaps the element of leakage was propping up the performance. So they had the questions prior to the exam. Maybe they would prepare adequately, go in there and deliver, and also increased invigilation. He mentioned, increased WAEC presence or invigilator presence there, which also meant that perhaps they didn't allow them to copy. I mean,
so So it means that the previous years, these things were laxed, that the vigilation was just relaxed. That's a serious problem. If indeed it's the case that how do you call it, vigilation was better this year, why? Is it because there was a change in power? This is serious. Do you realize where we are getting at? I mean, if the past 7 years we've been recording all these nice figures, all of a sudden power shifts, power changes hands, and then they say vigilation was better. What was happening the years before? Was invigilation lax? Was it deliberate? Were people told to relax? I don't understand. Were teachers giving certain quotas, headmasters giving certain quotas to meet? It is important to ask this question because you see, look, I recall there was a study somewhere in the States where I think one of the states suggested, one of the federal states basically was saying to teachers of, giving I mean, the whole idea is that if your students failed, you get more money, right? You get more, you're going to get more money to fix your problem. And some teachers decided that, well, if that's the case, then they're going to engineer the failure of students so that they get more money. I don't know whether the inverse or the converse is what is playing out here. I really don't know. Kofi can the best person who can tell us right now. Were teachers or headmasters giving certain quotas? Were they to meet certain because it doesn't make sense. I mean, if 7 years you've been recording good figures, and then just 1 year invigilation improved. Why? Well, vigilators being induced to look the other way, it is serious. It is really serious. And I think, as President Mahama has suggested, we should go into this matter critically. And the likes of Mr. Asare would definitely be part of those who give us answers. So I really worry. And it's making education look like a commodity that is just not respected. I mean, you can't live in a country where more than half of your students go to write exams and then they come out basically as failures. Even though I understand that exams are not the only ways of it's not the only yardstick to determining how good people are. I have a feeling we need to do a lot more. And this one, we need to investigate before we move forward. Otherwise, we'll make another mistake again.
Very well.
It is really bad. It's really bad.
Very well. I come to, of course, Kojo Asante is on the panel. Kojo Asante, who is Director of Advocacy and Engagement at the CDD, is on the panel as well. I'll come to him in a minute. Enoch, I'll come to you. But let me just put this out, that the Education Ministry said. It's a prior to the examinations, the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service issued a firm directive that any teacher or official found aiding or abetting malpractice during the examinations would face strong sanctions. This was rigorously enforced. 7. The 2025 WASSCE was conducted under heightened invigilation, strengthened supervision, and strict adherence to examination protocols across all centers. These measures significantly resulted in apprehension of some students and staff who would have engaged in examination malpractices. It is essential to appreciate that the outcome is a direct demonstration of the trend towards restoring integrity of the examination process. A credible examination system serves the best interest of our students, our schools, and our nation. Enoch, I mean, this is what Ghana Education Service is saying, that this time around there was, the examinations were conducted under heightened invigilation, the supervision was strengthened, etc. And that this, is a trend towards restoring integrity in our examination process, restoring integrity. That would mean that in the past, our results have not been a reflection of the real standards of the students. Will you agree to this?
Yeah, let me say a very good morning to yourself and to my co-panelist, Mr. Kofi Asare, the revered education researcher, and then Mr. Senyor Husi, who have been foremost proponents of policy on this platform. And to greet the Ghanaian people and your cherished viewers. Hello. This statement indicts all of us as a people of this country, especially as far as our educational achievements are concerned. That of Mr. Kofi Asare, that of Mr. Senyor Husi, myself and yourself, we are all indicted by this statement. And it should be noted that Ghana is a country within the international system. And within the international system, nations exist as nation states within the international system in federals of our national policy and our national interest or national agenda. So certainly, if we put out this negativity out there without foremost policy to restore confidence in the system, then it means that we are tainting our own selves and we are harming our own selves. Tomorrow, it may be your nephew or your son or your daughter traveling outside to pursue further education, and his or her qualification will be questioned as to how he or she attained that level of education as far as dates publications are concerned. And this, by law, it's a publication from a statutory body, and it is presumed to be regular, confirming that in the past there has been some semblance of illegalities perpetuated as far as our educational achievements are concerned. And it's a clear indictment on all of us, including the President of the Republic of Ghana, because he also schooled in this country.
But is that not a fact? The figures Kofi put out, the leakages, etc., to the extent that in 2023, the Honorable Educhum had to bring in national security, etc., to police the process. So that's a fact, So
you see,
heightened security, heightened invigilation, strengthened supervision.
We are in a tech era. Why is it that in this current tech era, we are unable to put cameras in our education, in our examination halls, to be able to police it and give us a better outcome? Why? In this room where we sit, in this studio where we sit, there are cameras all over watching us. If we doubt any action here, like say, I have, let's say, battered Mr. Senyo Jose, who is seated next by me, and I deny, it will be showed clearly, because cameras or audiovisuals do not lie. Do we have any account to suggest that in the past there were that massive leakages? Do we have evidence to suggest that in this current WASSCE, where lies we are discussing its outcomes, without even waiting for the chief examiner's reports and those things to guide us as a foremost grounding to be able to do introspection of the performance of our students? We are doing well in this regard. You see, in 1998, there was this work done by one Wendell and Black, calling the classroom as a mysterious black box. And in the black box, there are about two things that goes into it. Kofi is aware that the input by the teachers and resources, then the output by the students, as to whether the input by the teachers is seen visibly outside, because once you put something in a black polythene bag, you don't see what is inside until the performance or the outcome comes out. How have we been able to police this to guide us that the input that we have made in the past is what we are getting out, we are getting right now? In this tech era, almost all students are on social media. And now, if you are running an examination on social media for students to write even social media English, I believe that they will get A, because the social media English is different from the normal English that we are writing. So, so if students are failing in English and social studies, I believe that the chief examiner's report will tell us the language that they use in writing those papers.
I can confirm that the use of social media jargon is a major factor.
Absolutely.
It's already established.
So it means that we have moved from our traditional lingua franca, that is the English language, to a new system where we are not being examined on that system. And students, because they are glued to the current system, are failing as a result of some of these things. So examination outcomes is a holistic entity that we all need to put our minds to it, set our mind. You see, we have politicized everything, including education in this country. It is not under this dispensation. Since the inception of the Fourth Republic, as we came to meet. And it is still ongoing. 3 years, 2.5 years, 4 years, what years? Every government that comes has a way to discredit our educational system, or a way that he views, that the government views our educational system, and the interventions government wants to introduce into our educational system. We have come to a point that we need an independent educational commission where experts in the field, educationists, will be put in there, devoid of whichever governments are in control of the affairs of this country, to be able to formulate grounding educational policies to be able to strengthen arts.
But will you accept it? Government comes, this board or council or commission was established in this regime, another regime comes, will it work with the results with the findings or
because
whatever?
we don't trust ourselves, Selom.
Yeah, so but we've not cured that trust.
You see, because we don't trust ourselves and we never trust ourselves. That is why we need to improve upon our constitutional underpinnings. Codify that in a clear constitutional blueprint. Not a statutory blueprint, but clear constitutional blueprint.
If it
suggests that we have to be amended.
We have too many things.
Yes, because we don't trust ourselves. It is worthy to have so many things in our constitutions to guide us in going forward, to be able to build a formidable country that we all need to build. The American Constitution, have you seen the American Constitution?
Very small.
Have you seen the United Kingdom Constitution? It's unwritten.
Unwritten.
They thrive on acts of parliament. And the unwritten letters that has guided their constitutional underpinnings over the years. But because we don't trust ourselves, we always want to see, whenever Mr. Kofi Asare talks or Mr. Senyo Husi talks, I'll ask him, is it in our constitution? Because if it is not in our constitution, then because he sees me as NPP or I see him as PPP or CPP or whatever, based on his proposition, I feel that it is political, it is partisanship. So if that is what will be able to help us develop this country called Ghana, then we must put that in our constitution to guide us to be able to prepare feverishly for the future generation of our country. If not, we are continuously hurting ourselves.
I see.
You see, before you come in, there has been several educational researches and several commission of inquiries in regards as far as our education in this country. One of the big men who has studied foremost in the education sector, Kofi Asare, is on this platform. He can tell us. The Anamwa Mensa Committee or what committee, we have had a lot. We have had a lot. So if educational examination outcomes is becoming a political subject matter, that yes, under NDC, we have had the highest of failure rate in mathematics. What becomes of the next WASSCE? What will become the next intervention of government to be able to cleanse itself of the negative publicity government is enjoying? Then it means that, I don't want to use those words. Then it means that government is going to make sure that it cleanses itself because government is in control. Would that benefit us? Will it inure to our benefit? So, if failure is failure, we must look at our interventions from the inputs. Are we paying our teachers well? Are we paying our non-educational, the non-teaching staff? Are we paying them well? What is the condition of service of these workers within the educational space? What is the policy direction? What are the KPIs guiding us? What do we need on the labor market? Are we producing what we need as far as our labor market, per our labor market surveys are concerned? Are we producing? What is the direction of the state? In terms of infrastructure, in terms of resources, that will enhance the actualization of the vision of the country, culminating in the training of this human resource potentials. Are we investing so much into it? Are they getting it? Sometimes it is messy along the streets, the highways of Ghana, and seeing some so-called government schools under certain dilapidated conditions. So
we have our priorities not in the right places.
Absolutely.
As a country.
You see, where we always get it right is election priorities. And all the budgets that the electoral commission requests.
That's courage coming from you as a politician.
Oh, yes. Let's be honest and cure our nation. Because if our priority is elections. So if our priority is elections. Oh, yes. If our priority is elections. And the electoral commission requests $1 billion Ghana cedis to run elections. And we give to the electoral commission. Why can't we give same to education? If education requests that we need this X amount of money for these interventions. Have you realized this current budget where lies that government says that the private jet of His Excellency the President is in a certain condition and we need a new jet? Quickly, we have been able to make some provisions in our national budget.
But the same budget also has allocations for basic education and secondary education.
You see those allocations. You talk of allocations and you talk of releases. Making allocations is different from releasing the said allocations to the said institutions or appropriation for them to be able to make use of those monies. Haven't we seen the Eastern Corridor Road in our national budget for years? Puma, there's a popular name I always...
Fufusu Road.
Fufusu, what road? Sola Fufusu.
It's been done now, right?
Fufusu was done, but it wasn't well done.
It's not deteriorated.
What Pumanko Road? There is this road, popularly you see it in every budget.
I see.
You see, if we attach such priorities like we attach to elections, such priorities as we attach to the executive, to other well-meaning institutions of this country, we don't need the likes of His Excellency Barack Hussein Obama to come back to this country to tell us that we should build stronger institutions, because we know the institutions of state is what will culminate us into the level that we want to get as far as building our nation Ghana is concerned. Ghana is revered in all phases of national life. But we here, we don't revere ourselves as nationalists of this state in furtherance of the national interest.
Very well. Senor, very interesting that social media and tech and all those things are taking a better part of our students' attention. And that is negatively affecting results. The responses provided by the teachers to Kofi's survey, 25% of teachers who responded to the others part of it talked about excessive social media use, which, in a sense, contributes to indiscipline, etc. Is there a way we can deal with this? Of course, social media and tech should help us progress. But if it's becoming a disincentive, how do we stop our young people from being over-reliant on social media? Do we need a national policy on that? Of course, there are some countries which do not have the unbridled access to social media as we have in Ghana, even Dubai, UAE, etc. There's some restriction. Is that the way to go? And even the use of gadgets in schools is banned, but we see them there. The minister recently was saying that the tablets given to the students for academic use were being used for pornography and watching movies. Where did we get it wrong? What can we do to salvage the situation?
Well, good morning. I'm quite disappointed you are not acknowledging farmers. Yesterday was Farmers Day.
Yes, yesterday was Farmers Day.
This show has the privilege of actually recognizing farmers, especially when you have a farmer like myself.
Yes. Happy.
See, and you are not.
Happy Farmers Day. Of course, Kofi is also a farmer. Happy Farmers Day.
This is
belated
a seat
one.
of farmers.
Let me acknowledge.
I was in a Kwafu. I'm a farmer.
Let me acknowledge Ibrahim Edu said, the 82-year-old gentleman who won the best farmer position yesterday, and Osmanu Kadri, first runner-up, and all farmers across the country. We salute you, and fishermen, we salute you, and the job you do is what keeps the country running. In fact, interesting, all my guests in the studio today are farmers. And I'm an aspiring farmer as well. So.
Yeah.
All right, so great.
I
actually did some farming, but I didn't get any help. But we'll go back to it.
We're honored to have His Excellency the President. Your Excellency, you went through and crossed the Volta. The beauty you see there is nowhere near that which you see on the Pra. When you cross it, the story it will tell is a story that is not well. So, Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, where are the kingpins? Good morning. The problem we are having with our education is not necessarily a social media problem. Social media will come to the issues of distraction. When we were in school, we used to speak pidgin, and people used to threaten and suggest that pidgin would destroy. It went into our classrooms and our exams, it did, but it's not supposed to define or redefine that much. It's the destructive features of social media that should be looked at. But I think that we should discuss education a bit more carefully. We have not taken education as serious as we should. Education is an investment. It is a capital investment. When you invest in education today, you don't see the benefits or the consequences till a certain later time. So the students that are in GSS today, who are going to write BC in another 2 or 3 years, they will end up in the universities at a certain time. So the investments you are making in those lives right now, you may not immediately see the outcome at a certain time. So there's often a politic disconnect. The democracy we have, which is almost a mentally retarded democracy as it is emerging, because we act like some people suffering psychosis. When it has to do with long-term policy, we can't think. We don't want to think. We're all interested in the very short-term policy that gives an outcome and consequently an electoral object. I went to visit an auntie of mine, and she is angry. Your mama has come, and when you has come, now the students are failing. I said, Auntie, is your mama learning for the students? Is it writing the exam for the students? A similar thing would have been said if it was another government, depending on where the person is politically sitting. These are lives. These people, our children, are not statistics. We'll sit here and I can share with you data, my brother will share with you data, but we must remember that these are lives that will shape and drive the trajectory of our future as a nation state, with an object to bring to life the aspirations of us as a whole people as captured in our constitution. What skill, what investment, what capacity are we equipping them with? It's not a lie. I've went to the University of Ghana and I told them my peace of mind. That's my school, a place I have 3 degrees. And I have to be honest, it's done so much for this country. But policy is not bringing meaning to the future of the children you are seeing on this screen. Today is 3 years. Tomorrow is 4 years. One track, multicolor track, tracking track. Go and show me which of our last few education ministers had their children in these public schools. I don't know. Just think about it. Take all the major cabinet ministers, the top ones. Where do the children go to school? They are going to international schools. They are going to the GISs. And we all take pride in it. I meet them together there when we go for PTA meeting. Nowadays, I'm a very serious father. So you see me, I go. Because my daughter and her mouth, the questions she can ask, I beg you, I better go and have my own peace. And we meet. So I ask myself, if we are all sitting here at GIS, we are sitting at SOS, Roman Ridge, AIS, DPS, SSS, everything IS. Who is really thinking about the people in Temal School where I went to school? Or the Abutiateti SHS? Or Clifford Demete, where I come from? Or Mungurungu Yoyo? Forget! When we talk about education, we talk about people as if it's statistics. Where is the deliberate policy to make sure our children in the next 10, 15 years will be globally competitive? Because where we are going as a world is no more you fighting or managing this local space. You'll be competing with people globally, even for your own survival. Even teachers, very soon, you actually have a monogram sitting here and teaching students from Oxford. You have people having meetings without physically being present, but having the experience of physical presence. People will be creating products that will only just be able to consume. Because we don't have the competitiveness to actually match up. Where is the thinking? My heart bleeds. I went to a proper site too. I went to school in Pantine. All right? Yes.
The one that was still there.
Yeah.
They don't have a toilet facility.
No.
They do it in the bush.
I went there the last time. It was a beautiful facility. Way back. A tree has grown through the building, the concrete. The teachers sit. The teacher can't sit. It's like when he raises, moves his leg, he has touched a student's desk.
The crowd.
The crowd, look, where we really have a problem with the sanctity of our policy actions. So you take this matter. We've had leakages. Let's take the data from WAIC, okay? Cancellation of subject results, foreign materials, 2004, 4,100. 2025, 2024, 4,100. 2025, 6,295. It tells you we have a moral problem, right? Okay. Where is that coming from? Then we are wondering why we have politicians who are corrupt. We can't be thinking like that. Who is investing in NCC to make sure that the base, that we start shaping right the culture, the morals of our students, there's no investment in it. Nobody should come and fool anybody and tell anybody, Kofi Asare, is there any deliberate, proper investment in trying to even shape the culture, the attitude of our people? You are the one who is the richer. Tell us. You understand? And every year, this is getting worse. Next one, cancellation of entire results. Last year, 483. This year, 653. We are growing negatively. Without subject results, 781 last year. This year, 905. Without entire results, 209. This year, 158, which means that the vigilance has improved. So yes, there is data enough to support what the education minister is saying, and I commend him for the work that he have done. Aruna has done a great job with his team there. All right, you have increased vigilation. It means that the education itself is now being unveiled as less potent and competent. We are not interested in anything but making sure our children get educated. I'm not interested in results. Because when you come and work here, you are sitting here, you don't work, you don't carry your certificate. It is your output. So what is really entering that black box or bulletin bag or something that we are talking about? What is going in there? The culture is wrong. Because people have gone through this. The reason why people keep trying to cheat is because people are proven to be successful at the cheating. Bronga Hafo or Bono or something like that, there's a particular place that is known. So you go and see their data, almost 100%, they're always passing. You understand? So the thing is at core, what really is our policy? How is that policy going to make sure that a child born today, by the time he's 18 years and has entered the university, the government has planned his life as far as education, his culture, his societal responsibility is concerned. When he enters the university, what do you get? Now you put that whole matter aside. There's a bigger problem that is coming. If this is what we are seeing, what do you think is happening in the university? I don't know who is thinking and talking about it. We are hiring. Me, I hire people. I have about 100 people under my belt. I'm praying that I get more productive and maybe get to 1,000 and more. I have to deal with people every day. I'm telling you, the quality of our human resource is extremely low.
And it stems from education.
It starts from the education. And there's no deliberate policy. He was talking about something, about what's the policy relative to our economic outlook, our social outlook, and how are we allowing education to actually match that. There's a total mismatch because there's nothing. We are on autopilot. There's education policy sitting on its own, which some ministry, the Ministry of Education will be running. Economic policy sitting on its own somewhere. What is our plan out for economic viability, for social competence? What are our targets? If we have defined them, and we see that the way out for us as a country is going to be anchored on technology, it's going to be anchored on agriculture. For us to really drive this anchor, we estimate that over the next years, every year, this is the number of engineers we will need. This is the number of social scientists we will need in a certain particular field. How are we shaping our education? This is the attitude of people that will make us competitive. This is the level of critical thinking that is required. How are we shaping education now? So that what we forecast in the next 10 years, those who are next, there were those who will now be running our first next 10 years will now be the GSS class 6 or class 5 or so students in school today. What plan do we have for them? We don't have a plan for them. They have to just come and join the system, and then we find a way to manage. You go into the university. So which particular faculties are being empowered to deliver that outcome we are looking for? There's no planning. But that planning exists in Singapore. Every single child that is born today, there's a plan for what he's supposed to be like. As far as his social skills are concerned, as far as his sense of national duty is concerned, what kind of technical skills he would need to have so that he will be a meaningful Singaporean. What skills do we need to be a meaningful Ghanaian in the next 5 years? I don't know that. Everybody is trying to manage their own thing in their small corner. And I think that there is a need for us to start being deliberate. We need intentionality and coordination and harmonization in our policy making and management. That accord is missing in Ghana. Yenibi.
Very well. Wait.
That's an
important point.
Wait. They haven't finished that last one. The man is asking for an independent nothing. We don't need an independent anything. But I do agree that we must have a national position. What have we been doing with NDPC? We don't need to create a new organization. But conceptually, I'm aligned with this policy proposal. Conceptually. Why don't we have our NDPC become an honest, a real national think tank on social and economic strategy? So when you have to plan education, it stems out of there. Not for somebody who wants to get a vote today and comes to change something like this and like that. Look, the results that have become for the BC, I know that plenty of them, I don't believe it. Because if somebody can get you say, well, got 14 and cannot write the name, how did the person 14 himself? You understand? So yes, we need to make sure we harmonize this. And all parties come on board. But it needs a correction of the purpose of our NDPC. Not an NDPC that is also changing just like the parties are changing. That's what's happening. But so there's no stability. There's no accountability. There's no impact. There's no policy coordination.
Very well. Kofi Asare is the Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the NDPC, Dr. Kofi Asare. Good to have you on the show. It's become a policy decision or a policy matter. And as a policy person, where are we getting it wrong? I mean, where are we getting it wrong? Education, economic policy? Yes. What did I say? Oh, sorry. Kojo Asante, Kojo Pumpuni Asante of the CDD. As a policy person, where are we getting it wrong? Because, I mean, the results we are seeing are not good. And in fact, the products we are churning out are not the best, like Senor is saying. And we've had many other employers say the same. Where are we getting it wrong? How do we correct this into the future? And education is key. Once we correct it there, we will be fine.
Good morning. Good morning, Salam. And good morning to all my friends online and in the studio. I really thanks Senor for putting this into perspective. The bigger perspective. The harm that we are doing to our young people is really one that we should examine our own conscience around this issue. For me, education, when we talk about transformation, development for our country, education is like the bedrock. I mean, you cannot do any serious thing if your workforce is not really primed for facing the future. It's not competitive. And in all of this discussion, one thing has been clear, and I mean Kofi's research work, we've worked with him through even Corruption Watch. The integrity of elections in the last couple of years is probably one of the biggest challenges that we've had to confront. And if we were
Integrity of WASSCE.
Taken into
Integrity of WASSCE, you meant.
Yes, integrity of the examination.
You said integrity of election, of course. I can understand because you deal with elections a lot here.
Integrity of WASSCE. It's one of the biggest challenges because it was almost epidemic levels. The extent to which it became a culture. Well, it's now being corrected, or at least WAEC and others and the ministry and other stakeholders have tried to fight it. We need to sustain that fight. But it became a epidemic to the point that parents were one of the main perpetrators through the schools, convincing parents that it is in their interest to support the children to cheat so that they can pass their exams. So it's become a culture within the education space where everybody believes that, yes, they need to contribute something when they are going to write exams. They need to see this person, they need to see that person. And once you do that, the children also then create their own expectations. I don't have to necessarily prepare because come exams time, we might be able to get the exams ahead of time, or we might be able to cheat. And that's a huge a problem that even just enforcing, invigilation and so on, it's not enough. The mentality and the orientation has to change. And that means there has to be serious engagement with parent-teacher associations, with the entire education system about how do we reorient people about exams integrity and the importance of that to a young person's life. I mean, when we were going to school, the idea of somebody cheating is a big deal, but now people can do it on WhatsApp. So for me, that is one area that has been flagged that I think needs to be fixed, and that we have to sustain the fight. As I said, it's not just about improving invigilation. That, of course, stops it at the end, but it's the orientation, both for schools, so that the punitive measures, the letting people know that there are consequences for what they do, but that people move away from this belief that no, all they have to do is to try and get their hands on the, and then it creates its own economy. So there are rewards, economic rewards for people. So more and more people are involved in it. The second issue, which Kofi raised, starts all the way from basic, even before the JHS level, where you are right from P4, P6, which is the foundation. If you're not getting that right in terms of learning outcomes for basic literacy and so on and so forth, you are going to struggle when you go up. Everybody knows that a child at 4 years old, 6 years old, if they are not picking up certain basic things like comprehension, this and that, you are just piling on. And as Senor was saying, you get to the university, it becomes even a big task because your foundation is weak and you are not going to be able to correct it with just piling on things. And we have even neglected even that further because we've put all our eggs in free SHS and other kinds of investments and forgetting that it doesn't work that way. And this is common sense everywhere in the globe where people are performing at this level. Know that if you don't get the basics right, you are not going to get the person who leaves WASSCE, even if he doesn't go to university, would be able to be a good security man. Even if he goes to serve as a security person, he should be able to read and write, be able to comprehend, issue instructions, all of those things. The same person, if they go to teacher training, that they will have the foundation. Because if that is what the material that you are using to then train your teachers, what do you think those teachers will go and teach? So this is so fundamental, and it's right. Our policymakers don't take their kids to public schools. That it's been clear, and over the period, even at the basic level, that one is even worse because that nobody even really pays attention. At least at the secondary level, because of the endowments that our alumni schools and things have, people still go there. At a basic level, no main policymaker take their children. They are all international schools. So who is thinking for all the millions of people who are going to go into agriculture, who are going to go into our tech space, who are going to go, all our artisanal skills that we are going to need for development, buildings, and so on and so forth. So when somebody comes to paint, or somebody has to come and do electricals for you, if they cannot read, write, comprehend, so I think the elites, the middle classes in this country have to understand that these things, they all add up. They come to define the kind of social space, economic space, political space that we are in. And if we don't take it seriously, we are all going to suffer for it. Already we suffer for it, and we try to say we don't understand what it means. But yes, this is where it starts from. So for me, what is missing for me is where the parents are. How are we mobilizing and engaging? Because they are the ones whose children and their futures have been toyed with over, and it doesn't look like when we are doing education policy, they are the center of it. And they are organized enough to ensure that we do the right things. So it's come up again. But as I said, if we reduce our education to WASSCE results, to school placement, because that's when, there's always a conversation. Where is the conversation about substance, quality education? How does it fit into the transformation agenda? And driven by the people who stand to benefit, the parents, everybody, every Ghanaian who is looking at this, because the way we are going to exist here, if we don't have a good foundation for training people, we are going to have this very haphazard governance and social environment, and then it piles up at some point. The system can't hold anymore.
Interesting. Now let's advance the conversation. I'll start with you again. Now, the free SHS, there's been a fixation with performance. So the children have to perform well, so that the argument about contact hours, or the argument about the children staying home, more when the other ones are in school, doesn't come up in terms of it's affecting performance. So we do everything to ensure that the students pass or come up with very good grades. So 7 A's, 8 A's, and there are some points we hear that students from Ghana were the best in the WAEC region, and all of this. And all of a sudden, we are having this bad result. How much of this problem will you say is attributed to the fixation we have put on performance, perhaps as a result of the free SHS? Good policy, but maybe a few things will have to be done. And in fact, I even understand that headmasters have KPIs which hover around making the students attain certain grades. Nothing bad with having KPIs which say the students must do well, but if it becomes a fixation and perhaps the threat of punishment, that is, if the students don't attain this, there's a problem, then I think that's the basis, or that is a bigger problem we have to deal with. So talk to me about how much of this we can work out by refitting the free SHS to deliver real value for money.
I think so. I think the world over, now everybody is saying the minimum sort of qualification within any kind of country that your workforce should have is secondary. So if the person doesn't even continue in school at the minimum of WASSCE, that's your starting point. It used to be basic, or basic has been redefined, but it used to be maybe at JHS level. Right now it's WASSCE. But even the WASSCE sort of proficiency that you should have, it has to be reimagined, as Senor said. The type of technology disruptions and so on that are happening, if the person does not have digital skills, for instance, to really face the new world, but at the fundamental level, basic things like reasoning, comprehension, application. One of the things that I think the preliminary examiners report mentioned was why people, for example, were failing in maths. was that they could not read the instructions to convert those texts into mathematical equations. Right? And that is how, in the real world, that is how you apply knowledge. Whether or not you are feeding that into ChatGTP. So you cannot do away with that basic, foundation. I mean, my little girl who is 9 going on 10, if it's not because of the foundation, that they get even at the age of 4, 5, 6, and try to understand comprehension, converting letters into and having formulas, converting, doing all of these things, which starts very early. When you go up and you get bigger challenging problems, you will not be able to do it. So the obsession at that terminal point that yes, the person has to pass, that's fine. But what's the quality of it? Because as I'm telling you, somebody will come and wire your house and it will burn your house down. And we don't appreciate that. That policeman who has to go through human rights training and understand, concepts and theories about democratic policing and so on and so forth, if he cannot read and write properly, how is he going to be able to apply that knowledge to his job? He would make it up as he goes along. So it is not just about passing WASSCE by hook or crook, which seems to be the motivation. And I can sympathize with parents, who would do anything just to get their children to get through the next stage. Because one of the things I discovered that in a very, very, very difficult way, that, when you miss out in any of those transition points, it is so difficult in this system
To reconnect.
to jump back in. Yes, to jump back in. Society basically would exclude you from any kind of meaningful social movement, social mobility. If you're unable to do your WASSCE, even if you take time out and you try to get in, all kinds of impediments. So what I'm saying is that a lot of this politicization of education policy, that completely does not focus on the most important things and get into things that the people who are driving that agenda don't take their children to public schools. They don't take their children to public schools. And yet they are making fundamental decisions about public schools that they don't suffer any effects. So and Kofi maybe can, because it is one of the things that I've worried about. I'm like, how are we organizing parents to have a say? Because I know there's a certain generation of parents, particularly in a lot of rural schools and so on and so forth, where their parents did not go to school. So even the confidence to be able to challenge a teacher, a headmaster, or even education people in that kind of space is difficult because they might not even appreciate what is needed to give their children an opportunity in life. So we that have some education, we have to fill that gap and make sure that the right things are done. Because these things, once you get past it, it's very difficult to catch up. So for me, it's parents and how we really organize parents to be at the center of education policy and also drive that. If they get the right orientation around education, I think it makes huge difference. I'll end with this point. I mean, the point about NCC and the point about about the education orientation. You know, one of the things I like the BBC is that there's just so much content that is developed around just understanding basic things. So even if you didn't go to school, there will be programs that if you're a parent, you can say, oh, this is how children are learning in school. These are the things that they need. When conversations come, you can add your voice. What do we get from public broadcasting in terms of content about how we are organizing education? What are some of the ill effects? What are the benefits? How are children, what are the things they are going through on a daily basis so that we can get that content? We don't get even that on our radio stations, on our broadcasting stations. So that medium that we have to educate people constantly so that we can have informed conversation about these things, we also don't get it. So there's a lot to do, and Kofi can't do it on his own. He tries, but he can't do it on his own. And we really need to take education seriously. But the way the incentives are for political actors, if you leave it to them, we will just be talking about WASSCE, who scored the most, who is failing students, and the students whose lives are being harmed. Nobody is going to care about them.
Very well. So, Kofi, I come back to you. The free SHS, I mean, over concentration on the free SHS, the numbers are huge, but perhaps not commensurate resource allocation to improve the schools we have. There's a texter who says, Kwekwinla, who says, one aspect we are not talking about for the poor WASSCE performance is the infrastructure. My children went to Achimota School. The class size was between 65 and 70. The class exercises could not be conducted and marked. That's Kweku from La Paz. So, yes, access, but how are we ensuring that quality is not affected so much given the numbers we are putting in there? Also, the need for people to pass so the policy looks good. So, for example, past questions were procured for people. I've written exams all my life. I mean, Senior taught me in one of my courses. Past questions, you go and find your own past questions and then you learn. But now the state was procuring past questions for the students so they can learn and pass. Some of them even thought that the past questions were the questions going to come. So in the first year of that past question thing, when nothing from the past questions came, they were angry at the president, were insulting the president, all of that. These are the graduates we are putting across. We are churning out. How much of this is or can we attribute to the implementation of the free, which is a good policy? How do we correct it moving forward?
Well, the free senior high school is already a political ping pong, and I don't think we can ever depoliticize free senior high school. It's becoming a chewing stick for politicians. You see the results were out. We saw one group saying that, it's your fault.
Hi, welcome back. This is The Big Issue, 97.3 City FM, ChannelOne Television. We are on channel 363 on DSTV and on our YouTube channels as well. We just gone back to the discussion on the WASSCE and the results and education generally, what we can do to improve the system, etc. Now we move to the issue about the OSP. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has come under heavy criticism this week, and in fact, major newspapers this week or today are reporting. For example, Daily Guide says scrap Office of Special Prosecutor, Majority Leader in Parliament. There was a discussion on this in Parliament this week. Daily Graphic of today says Speaker, MPs unanimously agree to abolish OSP. What really should be the case? Should we strengthen the office or we should abolish it? What does that portend for our fight on anti-corruption? Why should we scrap it instead of strengthening it? Is it that the people are not happy with the special prosecutor because he's doing his job, he's making corruption unattractive, or what's the matter, or his personality is what is not helping. But it's his personality assisting the fight against corruption. A lot has been said about how he has handled so far the Oforiatta matter, the investigations on SML, etc. he's doing around Oforiatta, and why he sat for Oforiatta to, quote-unquote, run away from the country. What has become of all of these? He's now filed charges in court. People think he's being slow. People think he's not doing anything and that he is wasting money. Indeed, one of the matters that came up in Parliament this week is that his allocation is too huge for the kind of work he's doing. That has to be reduced or the office scrapped because, after all, the office is unconstitutional, as is being argued by many people, because Article 88 places prosecutorial powers in the Attorney General. And indeed, the law of the special prosecutor itself bears testimony to that fact. When you look at the long title of the Act, Act 959, it says an act to establish the office of the special prosecutor as a specialized agency to investigate specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offences involving public officers and politically exposed persons in the performance of their functions, as well as persons in the private sector involved in the commission of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related cases or offences, prosecute these offences on the authority of the Attorney General and provide for related matters. So it means that that office really cannot be doing the things it says it's doing. That's the argument of many people. And that it is tied to the Attorney General. And that is unconstitutional in the way the office is being operated now. That is the discussion. And this week, the office arrested and detained Martin Pebu, who said he has allegations of corruption against Kisi Jabin. That heightened the discussions on the relevance of the office, etc. Martin Pebu was subsequently released after hours in detention, and he's supposed to report there again. Martin says that he wanted an independent body to investigate the matters he has. He will not make subordinates of the special prosecutor to investigate the matters because they cannot really investigate their boss. That's his point. And so that's where we are now. To help us do the discussion, of course, Kojo Asante of CDD is still with us. We'll be joined by Inusa Fuseni, former minister, former MP on the NDC ticket. Enoch is here, and Franklin Kojo and Martin Pebu himself will join us briefly. Let me take you to Parliament. Now, the majority in Parliament is calling for the abolition of the office of the Special Prosecutor, insisting that the Attorney General's office should be empowered as a sole institution responsible for investigating and prosecuting corruption cases. Addressing Parliament, Majority Leader Mahama Yarega questioned the rationale behind under-resourcing the Attorney General while allocating substantial funds to the OSP, which he argued has failed to meet expectations. Let's hear from some members of Parliament.
Speaker, we are saying that the office of the Special Prosecutor has abused his powers in this matter. And I will not hesitate to say that this House, we created the office. And the office of the Special Prosecutor, if he continues to abuse his powers, then we may have to abrogate it. This House, we shall be inviting him to come and brief the House the circumstances under which he will detain a citizen under such whimsical circumstances.
I believe that it is high time that this Parliament reconsiders its decision to approve the establishment of the Office of Special Prosecutor. I think that we should abolish it. I honestly think we should abolish it because we've experimented it and we cannot see any achievement. Major cases of clear corruption. Up to date, the office has not been able to do anything. So it cannot do anything.
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, like we say in Twi, etua onyonku mua, etua duem,
Etua Wohumudia, Etua Nipem. To wait, Mr. Speaker. When it happens to somebody and he's complaining about it, you see absolutely nothing wrong with it. When it happens to you, now you complain. They will detain you and put onerous bills, whip you, whisk you away, unknown destination. Then your lawyers, everybody looking for you. We've had clients at our firm we are chasing all over town. When you say it, because it has not happened to them, they don't complain. That's why our elders say, "Koto de neboje." Today, because it has happened on their side, they are complaining.
And we cannot continue to allocate that huge sums to the same office when we are not getting the results. This is one of the agencies we should be looking at. It's getting almost the same amount like the Attorney General's Department. Please, let's face the bull by the horns and make sure that the right thing.
All right, you're welcome back. That was Parliament this week. Almost everybody saying the same thing. Office of the Special Prosecutor, as we say, local parlance, OSP Abre, everybody is saying one thing or the other. But what do you think? You think the office is outlived its usefulness? The office is not doing its work? The office should be scrapped? Or you think the office should remain? The person occupying the office has a problem? That's he. Should he remain there? There are petitions we hear around his removal. What should we do? I started with Kojo. Kojo, good morning once again. Welcome to the program. These discussions on the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they have reached a certain height now. I wonder where they have come from all of a sudden. Of course, there were discussions when the office was being established. But in the past week or two, I mean, almost everybody's singing from the same book that we should scrap the office. And you saw the remarks from Parliament that allocations to the office too huge for the job it's doing, is not delivered, etc. You have been working in that space. Talk to me. Has the Office of the Special Prosecutor delivered? Is it achieving the reason why we set it up?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. First of all, it's only politicians who want the office to be scrapped, predominantly. And it's for a good reason why I wouldn't say it's a good reason, but we know what their motivations are. I mean, let me just deal with the constitutionality issue, because it's been banded around over and over and over again. And I don't think the fact that you repeat things that for me are not founded in law means that they are right. The Article 88(4) is very clear that the Attorney General can delegate his powers of prosecution. It's on those bases that IOCO prosecutes, NACOP prosecutes, many other different agencies prosecute. And it is on the same basis on which the OSP law was founded. And it clearly recognizes the AG's power to delegate. And it's for that reason that the law that was laid in Parliament was laid by the Attorney General. And it even makes the nomination of the OSP by the Attorney General. So when consistently people say, well, the AG, it's the AG's powers, he can't delegate it, and so on and so forth, it's not true. It's incorrect. And we've had this debate over and over and over again. Just for me, I just want to put that, that in the proper context. We need a bit of history. We've had this discussion over the independence of the Attorney General, or the power to prosecute. It's been a debate that started, when we even first did the APRM. It was one of the recommendations. Why? Because the Attorney General is both the Minister for Justice, He's also government's primary legal advisor, and then he discharges the supposedly independent function of determining prosecutions and stopping prosecutions. And over the years, particularly with the prosecution of members of a sitting government, people have felt very strongly that it's very difficult for the Attorney General that sits in cabinet with his colleagues, part of the party, and so on and so forth, to do his job, because when you have to go after your colleague that you engage with and so on and so forth, it's difficult. So if you look over the years, our anti-corruption efforts is being post-regime accountability, and it's happening currently now, right? I think the only example that you have are two, Malamisa in the first regime of President Kufuor,
and Abugapele.
then Abugapele. So we've only able, the Attorney General is only able to pursue these things when it is against the
other side
government, or a government that's left power. So the call for an independent public prosecutor has been going on for a long time. And in the first National Anti-Corruption Action Plan, which I was part of the drafting committee, that was one of the strategies that was determined. Under NDC, the proposal was to basically convert the DPP role into an independent public prosecutor. And then the MPP thought that no, they thought you needed to create a separate office away from the AG to handle anti-corruption issues. And even though that ideally it should be set out in the Constitution during a Constitution review process, you could have a stopgap measure where you set it out now and later on you can convert it. And that's why they went by Article 88.4. And we were part of the legislation. And there's a lot of things that were done, mindful of all the experiences we've had around setting up, these agencies. So you will realize that apart from the OSP law, where there is actually a requirement for public reporting every 6 months, providing details of cases that are ongoing. All of the other agencies don't do that. If they would do that, it's at their own discretion. But this was a requirement by law. There are provisions that were made to set up a board that has all the other agencies on the board to engage the OSP so that they could even be referrals. So that's how the board is set up. So there's a lot of work that went into it based on our own experience. And then, of course, we had Mr. Martin Amidu, who was the first special prosecutor, was appointed from about 2018 onwards. You remember he basically operated from a house in Laboni, for 2 or 3 years, and there were issues about funding for the office, looking for a permanent office and all of that. And that didn't work out. He resigned. And then when Kisi Ejabin was appointed, it was almost up to 2022 that the office got the first budget, substantial budget. Remember that is a new institution that is trying to build a specialized anti-corruption agencies to handle politically exposed persons, corruption. These are some of the most powerful people in the world, in the country, who you have to take on with their lawyers and all of the powers that they have within the country. So, I mean, setting up an institution like that is not easy. It took most of 2023 to even set it up, and still there's a lot of work going because the OSP has police powers. You have to create a cell, you have to have, interrogation rooms, you need to create an intelligence lab, all of those things. Even Mr. Amidu, at the beginning when the OSP was relying a lot on secondments from the police and so on, they had issues with leakages, and so that he even caused the arrest of police officers that had been seconded to him and all of that. So creating a trust system, creating officers that you can rely on that will keep the oath of secrecy and all of that and avoid leakages, and it's a lot. So in reality, OSP operation began in 2024. And even in 2024, at that time, the OSP and the sitting government were, clashing consistently. There were challenges with the judiciary as well, because the judiciary is now learning how to engage a new institution like the OSP and trying to understand the legislation that empowers the OSP, its scope, and all of those things. So there are a lot of teething problems that a new institution has to go through. But in spite of all of that, even in terms of just creating the office, setting up the office, taking on cases and trying to prosecute cases, the OSP has done a very good job in spite of all of the constant effort to undermine it, the constant effort to abolish it. There's court cases that have attempted to go question the constitutionality of the office. He's had petitions, and a lot of the petitions and issues that have gone on the OSP, even issues about recruitment and all kinds of things that eventually, there was not even a prima facie case established, right? So it has, since this office has been established, constant barrage, constant harassment, constant effort to undermine it. And it's obvious to me, and I say it without any equivocation, that it is clear the political class do not want the idea of an independent public prosecutor, because people want to control who you prosecute, who you don't prosecute, and all of those things. And if we are going to tackle corruption and offer restraint on this type of impunity that it is endangering our democracy, we need offices like this. I mean, it is not, so it's for me incredulous to hear the majority leader, to hear members of the sitting government dare say that we should abolish this office when the same government is making the case that we need to address corruption, we need to hold people accountable. And if you have an office that you are supporting, that allows you to take on even members of your government, because sometimes it's the best way to handle that. If it is with your attorney general, party people might interfere, but if it's with the OSP, you can have a certain distance from that, so that it's up to the person if they want to get into those things. Now, this trigger with Martin's case and so on and so forth, again, is the hypocrisy of it that really worries me. What the gentleman at Democracy Hub, Wendell, Joseph or something, who claimed that some sitting members of the government were involved in Galamsey. Wasn't he arrested by the police and detained? I think he was still in jail, if I don't know. But has anybody in Parliament raised any issue of abuse of power and asked for the police to be defunded or abolished? I have a huge issue with criminalizing speech, and I've made this very clear to the OSP that for me, that approach to was really bad, all you have to say is that you have an open door policy. If somebody says they have corruption allegations against you, they can go to they can go to Yoko, they can go to Attorney General. Actually, Attorney General is even better to go and make the case. There's no need for you to pursue the case. Yes, fine. If they have allegations against you, and you want to know what it is so that you can investigate it, but don't. I think it was a wrong move to do that, and it was completely unnecessary. It's a distraction for me. It's a distraction. But I'm saying that all the issues that abuse, people saying, oh, they've had all this money, they are setting up a new office. How do you expect the place to be resourced? They don't have the facilities of Yoko that's been around for all these years, or the police, or FIC, or any of these agencies. And so why are you looking at this? If it's the question about value for money, we can raise questions about any of the frontline agencies. So let's deal with the real issue.
Very well.
What is the problem with why the political class are insisting that they don't want an independent public prosecutor? And I don't think that they should have their way.
Very well.
I really think that it's important for us to have this office, equip it, strengthen it, and you look around the world, now that you even think about issues of state capture and really sophisticated ways of corruption, for the sake of the state, you need an agency like this.
Very well. Great. Let me come to you, Afakwa, quickly. Is it the office or the person in the office that is raising the issue in your view?
Yeah. I must say that with celestial respect to persons with differing opinions on the establishment of the office of the special prosecutor, proposing that the office be abolished, I disagree with them. Salom, we have had democracy for so many years now. There are persons in this country who are saying that democracy has not been of help to the development of this country. There are people who believe in military juntas and military regimes that, based on our cultural underpinnings and our standing, we should go for autocracy rather than democracy. Is it the case that should those voices be loud, we terminate democracy at that stage and go for the alternative? Certainly. Every institution needs reforms. That will strengthen that institution to be able to deliver on its core mandate. We have witnessed some of the brutal defiances of the OSP with regards to human rights violations, even in the person on Kenofuriata and Adet. Leonard Senior Martin Pebu, what he went through, it was it was ultra-virus conduct of the OSP, because his mandate is defined under Section 3, which states that the OSP was established primarily to investigate corruption and corruption-related offenses. These are the clear mandates established under law. Granted that under Section 28 you have been given the powers of the police does not mean that you go bonkers, you extend your tentacles like the octopus, seeking to grab everything that comes your way. Your role is defined under Section 3. Functions of the OSP states that you are there to investigate corruption and corruption-related offenses. That is the purpose on which you were granted the powers of the police, to arrest, to seize, to investigate, to detain, to prosecute, and to do all those manner of things in respect of the two core functions. If he insults, if he abuses, if he fights, it's not your business. You only call in the Ghana Police Service and transfer, because they have the jurisdiction to entertain those mandates. So if he acts on that mandate, then certainly there are procedural propriety that you can run the OSP on. Pursuant to Article 146, where under Section 15 of the OSP Act 959, you can petition the President on stated misbehavior for the removal of the OSP if you think that you have grounds that can succeed. A prima facie matter that will cause the Chief Justice to set up a committee prescribed under Section 15 to pursue investigation in that matter to cause the removal of the OSP in that regard. So certainly, once we have considered certain procedures to be able to, as it were, strengthen the institution, it does not call that once there are some mistakes, it does not cause that, or once we've seen that we have not realized the intended purpose for the establishment of the OSP in terms of convictions or in terms of the pursuance of corruption and corruption-related matters, that often be scrapped. Then we are not being charitable to the nation called Ghana.
Very well.
There are well-meaning persons in this country that we think, if we think that the person there is not performing his mandate properly, there are other persons who can equally do the same work. Salom.
Our brother has offered. But it's just not now.
Martin. You see, there is one thing that once he's here, he will bring it out, and we also have our bite on it. On the corruption allegation that he's alleged to have made against the OSP. And granted that...
So he will deal with that quickly then.
So granted that he was also asking from the news that he wants an independent body. I believe that the proper procedure that Leonard Senior could have used was to trigger Section 15 of the OSP's own act, Establishment Act, Act 959, and pursuant to Article 146 of the Constitution, to be able to ensure that what he was asking...
Educate viewers on that.
Yes. Section 15 requires that a person seeking the removal of the OSP, of the SP, on stated misbehavior or of his malfunction as a result of infirmity of the mind or body. It's almost like removal of a justice of the Superior Court or a removal of the Chief Justice, violation of his oath of office and those kind of things. Can petition the President. And once the President receives that petition, the President forwards same to the Learned Chief Justice, who
like 146,
who goes through the petition. And once a prima facie case is established, the Chief Justice is required to establish a committee made up of the chairperson being the Supreme Court judge, or then a lawyer with not less than 15 years standing at the bar, and some other experts within that field to be able to form the committee to investigate the allegations that has been made against the OSP. And if a recommendation is made, the President is enjoined to go by the recommendation of the committee in like manner like what it's under Article 146 and the like.
Very well.
So
let me quick, yes.
If I may land here. So if I believe Leonard Senior had something cogent, stronger, that can cause the removal of Mr. Kissie Ejaben or any of the officers there that requires the provision of Article Section 15 and Article 146. Clearly, he knows what to do by invoking those provisions to be able to ensure that what he has, the Ghanaian people also have a feel of what he has and be able to court the strengthening of our democratic ideals and principles for the purpose and manner in which the Act prescribes.
Very well. Senor, the office of the special prosecutor, the office of the special prosecutor, a lot has been said about that office. But given the recent discussions, you think that the office must be scrapped, as we saw in the clip, the MPs and Speaker thinking, or it's a person in the office that has an issue we have to deal with?
Okay, I would step back just for 30 seconds on our education matter. The IGs, which most of our elite politicians take their children to, those international schools, the Cambridge system, they actually send their exam papers sometimes about a month before.
Yeah, I think Kofi said
no, but we didn't say it on air. And they have had a system to maintain integrity. We've not had that kind of problem.
Very well.
I think that the GES and the Ghana the Ministry of Education should engage the likes of GIS, work with them and see if there are learnings from there that we can bring. Yes, so which it is possible. Yeah. What we are having now with this integrity problem is a bad problem. It comes back into the OSP matter. The fundamental integrity problem with the Ghanaian is what has actually led to this situation in which we find ourselves. We can't even trust ourselves. And because really speaking, what you don't measure, you can't manage. Our politicians have had the mandate through policy, which is law, to exercise the authority of accountability. But we've seen corruption. And the way our corruption is even defined needs you to have a public mandate. That means that the same person who is supposed to manage the situation and protect the people is now being made the same policeman. It won't work. We all came to that consensus. This special prosecutor thing did not just come out of the sky. It is advocacy from all of us, which the NPP government, coming into 2016, listened to and added to their manifesto. You understand? I don't think Nanado just wanted to do it.
The NPP did not just want to do it, but when they were coming into office, they needed the consent and the support of all of us. Many of us were engaged, all right, and our thoughts taking, CDD did a lot of work on that. Samson Ladi and Co did a lot of work on that. And we've sort of forced the hands of government to do it. Just like we do the right to information bill. Look how long that thing really took. You have to take a lot of civil society pressure for us to have this. There's a policy reason for it. The policy object is to create a potent, politically independent, anti-corruption law enforcement agency. So it can hold politicians to account because they are led with the foremost mandate to drive and enforce policy and protect the public purse. That value can't be lost on anybody. There's always going to be a limit to which a political appointee would be able to enforce it. Trust me, we have one of the finest AGs we could wish for right now. When you look at how Dominic Ayini tactically prosecutes his issues, you must commend it. He does not just come out and shout, but he's a politician, subject to the directives of a president who could still be a subject of a corruption case. That is why we needed to have somebody who is independent. The question is whether it should be an OSP or not. I must be very categorical. I don't care the semantics. That policy value cannot be lost on us as a people. Our democracy has lost confidence with many people. Confidence in it is heading down, largely because of corruption. If we do not maintain being seen and actually executing a true anti-corruption agenda, democracy itself will fail and fall. And we are playing with these things, but we are actually on the brink. So we have an OSP today. How effective is it? That's a different conversation. Let's separate the effectiveness of the institution by the actors as is today from the policy value of having that kind of institution. If you tell me you want to scrap the OSP today, my question is, what are you replacing it with? Because we cannot scrap the policy object. But you can change the institution tomorrow. We can tomorrow say we are making the DPP fully independent. Come up with a more potent way of having it exercise its powers, making it have secure its budget. I don't mind. You understand? But that policy value must not be lost on us. We can take the OSP as is today and reform it. If there are legal challenges with it, legitimize it. But this conversation that goes left and right, as if the whole object is, no, we don't want to have anybody controlling what we politicians want to do or not to do. Policy has only one house, it is politics. Policy has an object with an ultimate goal being the people. The people have spoken. We need accountability. We need independent accountability. So we will not allow, and Parliament should hear very loud and clear, we will not allow any politician to vary that policy intent today or tomorrow. And those who want to ride on the name of Martin Kpebu to do it, forget it. Martin is not against the policy intent. We just have to get it right. And that is the conversation we should be having. That's the conversation Parliament should be having. How do we make sure that what we sought to achieve with this thing is really achieved? If you think there are problems with what we have today, should there be more accountability on the part of the OSP? Should there be a review, an independent review body that looks at his technical function? Discuss something like that. Don't come and stand here and tell that we are cancelling the office because of what? Because some of you were subject of his investigations? Or because you are scared that tomorrow you could be a subject of the investigation? We cannot accept that. So please get it loud and clear. The vote today, we didn't get some, but the people, we can amass them.
Very well. Great.
We have to protect the state.
Great. Now, Martin, of course, Martin has been in the news this week, and Adam Sananu is also online. So Martin, what really is your issue with the OSP? Is it the OSP or the SP? Just for starters.
For now, it's the SP. When it comes to the OSP, that's the office. Like Senator said, we need to improve it. That would be law reform. So it's a separate matter. So even me, this MP side saying that they say if this is how he will continue abusing the office. They say if. And so I understand they will call him in to see what's the problem. Because Mr. Jabi is clearly now using the OSP, the OSP as the office for his personal vendetta against me. Because I said he's corrupt and I'm ready to prove it. He just can't handle it. And so he thinks he should just go after me, which is so childish. It's childish.
But
Sue me if you think that.
You went there on Wednesday and you were detained. We did interviews here and there. And then we were released around 10 p.m. thereabout. What happened? You went to the place, they said you were arrested, or before that there was an interview you granted a media house. They didn't find that pleasant, or they thought it wasn't supposed to be. What really happened?
So short. Maybe I'll start with the PIF and then go step by step briefly. So when I returned from the interview, I walked into the OSP yard. When I walked past the security post, so maybe about, let's say 3 meters or 4, then I heard somebody say, "You." So I turned, and it was a soldier who had emerged from the security post because I had just gone past it. He wasn't standing there. It was a policeman, the one who came and sacked us from the interview, and I'll soon show. He was the one I saw. I bypassed him, and then about 3 meters down, after the security post, I heard "you." So I turned. Then the soldier said, "I allowed you to park in the yard, and then you went to do an interview. Next time, I will not allow you." So I also shot back that, on what basis? What right do you have to curtail my right to go and do an interview? The media is the fourth estate of the realm. It didn't start today. That phrase is over 150 years old. The British MP who coined it, the fourth estate. So I said, no, you don't even understand. You can check what Jefferson talks about, says about strong media for a good nation. I didn't add this, but I'm just putting it in context. So he left me. That soldier didn't say anything. So I continued walking another 2 or 3 steps. Then I heard, "Ask for me." Then I turned. And so that was the second soldier who now said, and I say first soldier, second, because they refuse to wear name tags. They refuse to wear name tags. So you can't know. Meanwhile, the policeman, his name tag was there, AJ. It's AJ, but the soldiers weren't wearing. So the first one is tall, the second one is short. So the second one now pointed his hands like this. "As for me, next time you come and do that, I will show you." See, soldier, in a very menacing manner, "I will show you." So I shot back again. Maybe he doesn't know I'm a lawyer. I don't know why he thinks he could intimidate me. So I said, "What power do you have?" Or maybe if he thinks we are still in a military regime, "What power do you have? What can you do?" I'm sure he couldn't handle that. Then, he now said,
after you asked him, he left. Okay, he said you were a stupid guy.
Yes, and that's why. So I also replied that he's also stupid. Because what have I done? I've not breached any rules. Now, the Sami Daku is all over. He's trying to rationalize. And I'm sure if we don't need it right now, I'm sure this all of us understand. Retroactivity. If you think it's your rules that when you enter a yard, you can't go out and do an interview, put it on the wall, make a signboard. So as soon as you enter protocols when you are in this yard, so you make the rule before, assuming it will constitutionally stand. But the principle is that let the rule there. So you see, when President Mahama signs a law, when Parliament passes it, and President Mahama signs, or any other president, it is not law. You and I know, under Article 106, until they take it to Assembly Press and publish it. So it's only when citizens can access the law that it becomes law. So if it stays on the president's desk, even if it's signed, once you cannot go to Assembly Press near Accra Technical University to buy it, it is not law. So as a lawyer, that's how I work. So you can't wait for me to finish granting an interview and come back and you tell me next time this. We will not accept that. How? Put it before. So at the time I was packing, so put it at several places. Because if you go and hide it somewhere and I don't see, bad. So put it at vantage points. Good. So that's what happened. So the man said I'm stupid. I also said he's stupid. Then one of my lawyers came and grabbed me. And then we went upstairs. Even before upstairs, I sought to report. Can you believe that OSP, you want to make a complaint? For 15 minutes, they couldn't make available the assistant for me to make a complaint against the soldiers. So when we went upstairs to meet the team, then we now made it clear to the team. When I say the team, they still paraded Mr. Abraham Ablo-Mensah. He's the chief of staff of OSP. And then lawyer Albert Paddington. They were the people we were to meet. They were the people we met last week and broke down our objection into fine form for them to understand. Our objection is that, look, Ablo Mensah, you are chief of staff, but that means Kissi Ejabi is your boss. Lawyer Paddington, you are a lawyer. He has an official title, I don't know it. But whatever it is, you are not the head. So you can't investigate your boss. You say, come and give me information so that we will do our investigations, neutral fact finding. We said, no, that's your boss. You can't handle this. So we broke it down that maybe the board. And the reason we said the board is that, you see, naturally, if you bring the board, we'll come and tell Ghanaians. So ask the board members, what are your names? And tell them, if I came here and told you, this board member, that board member, you know how our society is very strong. People know, everybody knows. So if you found out that the board members we are giving our information to, maybe that board member brought 4 people to Kissi Ejabi to employ, there are a lot of procurement breaches will come there. You have no idea. When you see me saying Kissi must go, it's not just because he allowed Oforiatta to go. That was just the icing on the cake. So many things wrong. It runs the institution like it's in his pocket. So the reason we say we wanted to deal with the board is that we know that, yes, the board generally is supposed to be independent, but we also know how some board members lose their independence because they are always looking for something from the chief executive. So if we brought their names out and people showed us how they brought nephews and nieces, we'll go back and say, no, disqualify this board member, etc. But I didn't get it. They are saying we should give to chief of staff and a lawyer. And we said, no, that's your boss. You can't investigate him. This one to be matter. So then, the time we repeated.
So that was the second time you were meeting them?
The second time we repeated it, that's what we told them. So when we went last Wednesday, the same Ablo Mensah and lawyer Paddington. So we said, how? So we are not going to give it. So case closed, we are going away. Then it appears that they had already hatched the plan that they would then arrest me for the incident that took place more than an hour ago. I mean, come on, a soldier abuses a citizen, a soldier who is supposed to act with decorum, unprovoked. Remember, Selon, I was walking, he called, asked for me, and I had to turn. And he was wagging his hand. Wagging. Next time, I will show you. Soldier, you know, soldier, that thing that, like the way they say military, they will discipline you. Please, that discipline is past. It's rule of law. We've gone past that, I will discipline you. You have no power to discipline. Follow the law.
But that's not discipline, that's abuse.
That's why, and some of our citizens believe it. Oh, soldiers said they will discipline.
What discipline? That's abuse.
So Martin, so eventually you got into the room, you raised objections.
Yes.
What happened?
So after the objection, they said Ablo Mensah would often go out. I'm going to consult. He came back about 15 minutes later. After we had said so, we are not giving the information out because they are subordinates. And brought a certain officer in Mufti. I don't know whether it's a police officer or this OSP officer. And said they had brought him to arrest me for the incident that took place over an hour ago. That's obstruction. So as soon as I heard it, I mean, I know that, yes, some people can't take criticism, so they want to abuse their power. So
they want to arrest you for the incident that happened there?
So quickly, my lawyers shot back. How? So I just said, no, let's stop quickly. You know why? Because you see, practically, it's about trying to get out, because in that building on the 5th floor, if you don't cooperate, they won't let you out. And also, I've been coming to TV, I know how Ghanaians watch us, so I know that if you make a wrong move, citizens will not forgive me. So do the best possible. So quickly, I told my lawyers, don't argue. Yeah, let him come and arrest me. You know how the arrest is done. He'll come and touch you on the shoulder. I'm arresting you for this offense. You may say something, but if you don't, I mean, you are not obliged to say anything.
Miranda rights.
Yes, perfect. But if you say so, it will be taken down. So he did it quickly, 1 minute. And then, so they said they have the statement forms. I said, bring them. Caution statement. They wrote it. Then quickly, I started writing. Hey, send 10 times so that I can ask for bail. So I finished quickly, maybe after 10 minutes or something. Then we asked for bail. Then once again, Abraham Ablo Mensah, chief of staff, left the room.
You were questioning on what?
And that for obstructing an officer. And look, me walking like this, an officer called my back. It's not like
your spirit, it was your spirit. Your spirit was
obstructing him. It's not like he's in front, he's arresting somebody and I came to disrupt him, or he's writing and I'm engaging. No. He abused me like this. So fine. We'll see whether they can prosecute. I'm waiting. I can't wait. We should go to court. Let them go and show. Salam, do you have the OSP Act here? You just see Section 79. Yes. Open and see. Whether you see, they are saying they are using Section 69(3). And I'm happy, my good friend, what's the name again? Enoch. He said, listen, 15. They have no authority. Go to Section 79 and see whether OSP can prosecute for a breach of Section 69, subsection 3. It's not part of their mandate.
79 is the interpretation section.
Yes, and but you see, corruption, the meaning of corruption,
corruption.
and corruption related, 79 are the
Yes.
You see the offenses listed.
Yeah.
Breach of 69.
So I got confused a bit because at the point, I think Amadiba came on TV3 and he said that it was the Ghana police
yes,
that
was correct.
That was arresting you and not the OSP.
No, but it's OSP office. Why? It's Ghana police. Have they told the public that they set up a unit of Ghana police there? The officer who came, let's say it's Evanso Poku, and then straight. As I said, at that time, see, as a lawyer, in the circumstances, it's not everything you argue. You have to pick your fights well. Because all I know is that, if I write my statement, I can get bail. Usually, writing the statement is not compulsory. But if you don't write it, it's like they feel frustrated, and so they can also frustrate you. So at that time, I was not in the mood to argue. I told my lawyer, stop.
You cooperated well.
So like Amalba say, if they say Ghana police, they haven't had them. What's his rank? All I was told was that this is Evanso Poku. Evanso Poku, he didn't show, like I told you, if it's CID, then bring out your card, let me see. You haven't shown me any card. So Evanso Poku arrested me, and then when we're done, they took me this, and so then we did the statement after the way to grant me bail. Abraham Ablo-Mensah went out for over 30 minutes, came back and said, yes, bail granted, but the condition is that I should bring a landed property in my name. Bring a landed property.
Just hold on with the landed property. Let me talk to Senator Nwaze to work on your microphone. So Adam Senator is an anti-corruption crusader. We have 10 extra minutes to wrap this up. Thankfully, producers secured that for us. So Adam, good to have you on the show. I know you guys, everybody, we've all been working on this to strengthen our anti-corruption institutions, etc. But in the past week, it does appear that the OSP or the office has come under pressure. That pressure was mounting before this week's unfortunate incident with Martin came up, which had given that some impetus. Where do you stand on the matter? The office itself, its occupant, and Martin's matter in just 2 minutes.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Some of us, together with Martin, we just left TV3. Abolish or reform, is it the institution or the person? I'll say none of the above. I think review and strengthen the OSP is where I would go. And I think that the argument for why this institution is so critical have been so well made historically that we cannot have any other option but to understand that it's a key institution that has something to offer. And so the thinking even in crafting Act 959 ensure that potential overlaps were dealt with and that this office will really look at politically exposed persons. And so if you have a politically exposed person,
sorry, go ahead.
Saying that we should, if we have politically exposed persons saying we should scrap it, we need to be very cautious. I think there was I think that in the last few weeks, and it's an institution that is being built. So processes, I find value in Martin's engagement to the extent of legal and administrative practices and procedures that may need to be deepened so we have clarity. For example, when he just talks about if you don't want people to come in and go out, make sure that you have it up there. I think that there's value in that kind of discussion. I also think that this discussion probably will be made much better if we have both parties there, because Martin is telling his side of it. From a natural justice perspective, what exactly transpired and how they were thinking when this arrest was done by the police, you may need the other parties also to speak so that we can draw the right conclusions. Overall, I don't think Ghana benefits if we have these individuals fighting. It seems to me that we need to create a space for some dialogue around what has transpired and what we can do better moving forward. I found the comments in Parliament disconcerting because they are politically exposed persons and because of the debate. Some of them, the positions they took when they were passing this law, the majority of them, except for Honorable Domikanini and I think the majority leader, supported it amazingly. So to suddenly think that you should throw out the baby with the bathwater, I think is not the way to go. Honorable, I've forgotten his name, Nkrumah, Upon Nkrumah made a point that I thought was disturbing but also profound, which needs to be followed up. That this is nothing new. It's not just about the OSP. It appears that security agencies are being weaponized against citizens. And I think that, therefore, Parliament should be so minded as to take this up. If demand for landed property and certain actions are being taken, which are not fair to the citizen, it should not just be because a friend of a political party is speaking or there's some association affiliation, but let's look at what is going on in our security agencies. There may be a certain aspect that we think ought to be reviewed and dealt with. I think we should address those issues as well.
Very well. Great insights you've provided. Martin, back to you. So you were in that interrogation room, you were arrested, and you asked for bail. Bail conditions were set, landed property, and one surety.
Yeah.
I spoke to Bia. Bia said you sent him to the office to pick a document for the landed property. By the time he came, you were whisked away. What happened?
Yes, so when Marcelinus Bia left, about 3-4 minutes later, as soon as Bia left,
Bia was one of your lawyers?
Yes, and then the lead lawyer is Agbeshi Jakpasu, former bar president, Greater Accra. So what happened was that when they said bring landed property, and we argued and they said no, they will not vary it. Then quickly I told Bia to go and get a landed property document from the office. My office is just, even if you walk, about 10 minutes from OSP. If you drive, far less. So when he went away, then Ablomensa left the room. He came back about 3-4 minutes later to say, look, even if Bia brings the landed property documents, he cannot admit me to bail because he wants to verify it. People that I'm always on radio and TV. Can you imagine? Says no, he wants to verify. I can leave Ghana because of an exchange with a military man.
Around what time was this?
So that's 6:10, 6:20, exactly. So he said no, he will not agree. So whilst Bia was away, then Ablomensa told the policeman, the one who had sacked us from the interview earlier, AJ, that he should handcuff me. And true, AJ came and then I offered my hands. Then they put the handcuff and then they whisked me into a car. I wasn't even allowed to call my family. And then we're taking unknown destination, kept going until I saw that after Ridge roundabout, I saw they were headed. That road they used could lead to BNI headquarters, and then you can also use it to finally access police headquarters. But when we got to BNI headquarters, then they entered. So that means, but when we entered BNI headquarters, even though generally I was in high spirits, I must add that my heart sank a bit because 2 weeks ago, one of my clients told me that the cells there are very hot, very, very warm. The ventilation is poor. So I've been begging Senior Kipo, Mr. Charles Kipo, BNI head, that I was about to write to him, but I just got too busy. I told the client I'll write to Mr. Charles Kipo that we beg. The way the people are complaining about the cells in the headquarters, they should improve the ventilation. That the windows.
You didn't know you were going to be the next customer.
Oh, but I was lucky. And you see, and thank God that I told the client that I would write.
Work quick.
But I was lucky. When they did, maybe it's full or something, then they took me to Kawukudi. So they did the bookings in the head office. You enter a certain room, do bookings, and then they took me to Kawukudi. Left-hand side. Yeah, so you go about maybe another 300-400. From headquarters to Kawukudi is over a mile. Kawukudi is near Nima. So they took me there. We entered. Then took me out, took off the handcuffs, and then started processing me. Process me. BNI, they were gentle there. And then, long story short, eventually, I saw them reprocessing and processing. They didn't do well. The only side I'm not happy with the BNI officers is that when word came that they should release me and they started processing me to now discharge me, they should have told me that, Pebu, we are working on your papers to let you leave. I guess the processing took over 20 minutes. All this while, I was looking into their faces for cues. Whenever a call came, because I was expecting that I would be released. Because it was the height of illegality that Kisi Ejabin thinks he can use OSP, the police powers, to muscle me. How? Ghana, is it for Kisi Ejabin alone? You allow Oforiatta to flee when there are 5 cases on Oforiatta said, you don't know this constitutional imperative, sovereignty of the people. Assuming state institutions are frustrating you, blow the whistle, do a press conference, issue a presser. The Oforiatta is about to flee citizens and I'm not getting cooperation. We would have gone to the airport. I would have been #1 to go park there, then rally Ghanaians. It's all part of the noise so that whatever has to be done to make sure that Ofori-Atta is arrested and admitted to bail before he goes. I cannot say, if doctors check Ofori-Atta and they say, look, we cannot take care of Ofori-Atta in Ghana, he must be in America, he must go. But subject to giving us bail. Just like you see my offense, I have now given him my landed property. So that's this simple thing. He knows how to ask me for landed property, and he didn't know how to ask Ofori-Atta for landed property before Ofori-Atta left.
So a whole lot of your case is built on the fact that the OSP, the OSP,
the SP, led, the SP.
I mean, there's the office or the
no. So Kisi personally, aided by Sami Darko,
but it's the office that, in your view, did not work hard to get Ofori-Atta before he left.
Absolutely.
But Ofori-Atta informed the regime that he was leaving.
Absolutely. And Kisi said he intercepted a letter. He got a copy, and then he said, well, we watched him leave. We were powerless. So when your special prosecutor doesn't understand the principle of sovereignty in the preamble, Article 1, Article 35, Article 125, sovereignty resides in the people of Ghana. So if anybody frustrates you, come and blow the whistle. Tell the people that Senor Hosi is frustrating me. Enoch Afuakwa is frustrating me. That's what Martin Amidu did when Akufo-Addo started interfering in his work. And you see, then the badge of mother serpent of corruption stuck. Kisi doesn't know this, and you think you have a special prosecutor. He must leave. That's crass incompetence. Put it simply, policeman, remember, Mr. Afuakwa referred to Section 28 of the law, the arresting power. So for that purpose, Kisi, you're a policeman. So a policeman, your suspect is running. You cannot shout, people of Ghana, come and help me. This suspect is running. Oh. This suspect is running. Coupled with the 1,000 lies Kisi are being told. Look, earlier on, Sami Darko came and said that at the time Ofori-Atta was leaving, he didn't know there was any case pending against him. Subsequently, Kisi Ejabin goes to grant an interview and says that, oh, they started investigations in 2023. Remember, Manasseh and Co. presented a petition on 18th of December, or is it 23rd? One of it. 18th of December or 23rd of December 2023. And he said they started working on it. Have you seen the diary of action? The diary of action shows that they started working on it in this year, after Ofori-Atta had left. Have you seen the diary of action? Do you want us to go? 29th January this year. Do you want, we can project it?
Yes, but we will have to do this another time. So, so the point now is, so you are returning, so you went there on one thing, something else disrupted it.
Yes.
And so there are two issues you have now in that office.
Yes.
When are you resuming the real matter for which you went there?
Oh, it has come to an end. Yamutu. Mangana Yamutu.
No, they may invite you again, right?
No, I'm not going to go if it's about the present evidence. There's no law that says I must present my evidence to subordinates. I made that clear to them that day, and the matter was closed. But if they say the board is constituted and the board invites me, I'll go.
So why don't you submit a petition to the president, like a 146 procedure?
Yeah, let's use Section 16. That's in there. So like we were saying, I don't know why they say he's court of appeal, right? That's what the law says. He has terms and conditions of a court of appeal judge. But if you read Section 16, Section 15, they've added many things and made changes. It's not like 146 at all. Yeah. And it looks different. So we'll deal with that later. So yes, Mr. Adonu, yes, I'll present a petition this week. I'll just waiting more people, you show it to a few people, get inputs here and there, get more documents. And right now, I've shown you, look, in order to show Ghanaians that I'm not scared, I knew what I was talking. I've sent you 2 documents. Number 1, do you know that when Kisi Ejabin freed Edubuahi, you told the public that he's done nothing wrong. He's not committed any crime within your jurisdiction. That's the report. Edubuahi has not committed a corruption or corruption-related offense. Mangana Yamutu. Then subsequently, 3rd of November, you write to him, I've sent you the letter, that bring me the $40,000 cash. Bring me the $40,000 cash. After telling Ghanaians that he has not committed an offense. What's your mandate to collect $40,000? He will explain. Number 2, this MP, Kingsley Ajima, he used to be in charge of scholarship secretariat. What happened is that he employed some people or engaged some people to do a smear campaign against Atachia. So long story short, so that if that campaign was done, he will give the lead person 2 scholarships. I have the statement here. I've sent to Salem. So I'll send to you guys. You can read it and see. And there are audios. So that Kingsley Ajiman, public officer, hey, okay, Mr. Fuakwa, go and do this smear campaign. Say Atachia is corrupt, blah, 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 so that it can increase my chances of beating him in the primaries. And eventually, yes, Atachia didn't contest. But of course, you know, this smear campaign would have also contributed. But the key thing is, so corruption against Kingsley Ajiman, reported to OSP, investigators finished their side. They've interviewed the people and they've seen prima facie. You know, even police do prima facie before the case gets to court. So there's enough to show that Kingsley Ajiman must be arrested. And remember, when we say arrested, it doesn't mean keeping him in jail, custody. Sure. So just the arrest so that he should write his statement. Just that one they were going to do. Kisi Jabin stepped in and said Kingsley Ajiman is his friend. So Makesi Edu, the OSP lead investigator, should stop.
He said it was his friend, and
his
you have that on record.
And I said he's sued. You see the court papers. So we'll be going. He should come and testify. He against Edu, and we'll look at everything. Even if Edu, Kingsley is not his friend, if assuming he denies, they will look at all the circumstances. They will look at the evidence. The one who did the work has admitted that I did it for Kingsley Ajiman, MP now, in order for me to be given 2 scholarships. That's an allegation of corruption. It's in writing. And the guys repeated it orally. I have audios. So it's not a joking matter. So Kingsley is to be brought in. His side will also be taken in, blah, blah. This, Kisi Jabin says, is my friend. If you do it, it will affect Kingsley's chances in the elections.
But in wrapping up, I mean, Kingsley, Kisi, you had praised on many occasions.
Yes.
I mean, during the NDA matter, yes, and how he was handling it and all, yes, of that. What changed? And what
at
has
that
changed
time, I hadn't seen the dossier, the full dossier. I'd had snipers that, look, Kisi is a double agent. But you know, I'm a lawyer. I have to deal with hard evidence. So the NDA matter, you will see that, like you're saying, until 20th of October, sometimes overall, I'm also supporting him. Though on certain occasions, I'll come and disagree. In the NDA matter, there's this lady called Clara Tia Napaga Sulemana. Yeah. Ekufuado's friend. Because of that connection with Ekufuado, Kisi didn't add her. Meanwhile, when Howard Kumson's ministry was taken from her, Clara Tia Napaga Sulemana was the coordinator of the special projects initiatives, what Howard Kumson was minister over. So she was the boss. She approved the documentation for that money to be paid. And how do you exonerate the boss? What boss will just take anything you bring, you just sign? And under causing financial loss and those other things, listen, you just sign anyhow, you can be held liable. Yeah, Kisi took Clara Tia Napaga out because of her relationship with Ekufuado. Then there were the other officers, Henry, then the director of budget, etc. So later I complained. So those were the signs that Kisi is not straight. He's playing games with us. And now you can say, right? He has discriminating selective justice. And other things. Martin Amidu wrote about corruption. I raised it. Kisi called, Martin, don't mind Amidu. You know the nepotistic appointment. Sami Daku's brother is in OSP, etc. When we open that dossier, you see.
Very well. So, I mean, we have to end here. Thanks so much for the extension of time. Martin,